Welcome to Priority Mindset, where we talk about everything that's a priority to you. I am Rosetta, and let's get into it. Okay, guys, let's talk about procrastination. We've all been there, right? That deadline is looming, and you're on the couch, scrolling through social media, convincing yourself that watching cat videos is research for your project. Don't worry, you're not alone. Procrastination is like a universal language we all speak. It's the art of putting things off until the last possible minute, even when we know it's not good for us. It's a battle against our own brains, a constant struggle between what we should be doing and what we'd rather be doing. And let's be honest, sometimes those reality TV shows are just too tempting. But here's the thing about procrastination, it's a habit, and like any habit, it can be broken. It's not about becoming a productivity robot who works 24/7. It's about finding ways to manage our time and energy so we can get things done without wanting to pull our hair out. So if you're ready to break free from the procrastination cycle and finally finish that project, or at least start it, then buckle up, Buttercup. We're about to embark on a journey to conquer procrastination, one step at a time. Let's face it, we're all procrastinators to some degree. But what makes us this way? Why do we sabotage ourselves with distractions and delays? Well, my friends, procrastination is not a one-size-fits-all phenomenon. There are different flavors of procrastination, each with its own unique set of ingredients. First up, we have the thrill seeker. This type of procrastinator thrives on the adrenaline rush of a last-minute deadline. They're the ones pulling all-nighters, fueled by caffeine and the fear of failure. Then there's the avoider. This procrastinator puts things off because they're afraid of failing, looking foolish, or not meeting expectations. Next, we have the indecisive procrastinator. These folks can't make a decision to save their lives. They're paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong choice, so they end up making no choice at all. And finally, we have the perfectionist procrastinator. These are the folks who strive for flawlessness in everything they do. They procrastinate because they're afraid of not meeting their own impossibly high standards. So, which type of procrastinator are you? Once you identify your procrastination personality, you can start to develop strategies to overcome it. Procrastination isn't just a one-time thing. It's a vicious cycle that keeps repeating itself. It all starts with a task that we need to do. Maybe it's writing a paper, studying for an exam, or finally cleaning out that overflowing closet. But instead of tackling the task head on, we start to feel a little bit of anxiety or dread. We tell ourselves we'll do it later, that we work better under pressure. So we avoid the task, seeking out distractions like our phones, social media, or even just reorganizing our desk instead of actually doing the work. We might even convince ourselves that we're being productive by doing other less important tasks. But deep down, we know we're just delaying the inevitable. And the longer we wait, the more the anxiety and guilt build up. This leads to even more procrastination, and the cycle continues. Okay, so we've talked about the different types of procrastinators and the vicious cycle of procrastination. But what's actually going on in our brains when we procrastinate? Why is it so hard to resist the urge to check our phones or watch just one more episode of our favorite show? Well, it turns out that procrastination isn't just a matter of laziness or poor time management. There's actually a lot of science behind it. Our brains are hardwired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. And let's face it, doing work, especially work that we find challenging or boring, is not always pleasurable. In fact, it can trigger the same areas of our brain that are associated with physical pain. So when we procrastinate, we're essentially choosing the immediate pleasure of a distraction over the potential pain of tackling a difficult task. Our brains also love novelty and instant gratification. Social media, video games, and even just browsing the internet provide a constant stream of new and exciting information. This releases dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. Section 5, Taming the Procrastination Monster, Practical Tips and Tricks. Now that we understand why we procrastinate, let's talk about how to break free from its clutches. Don't worry, it's not about becoming a productivity robot. It's about finding small, manageable steps that work for you. One of the simplest yet most effective strategies is the 2-minute rule. If you can do something in 2 minutes or less, do it now. This could be replying to an email, putting away your laundry, or even just making your bed. Another helpful tip is to break down large tasks into smaller, more manageable chunks. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by a huge project, focus on completing one small step at a time. Section 6, breaking tasks down. Bite-sized productivity. Remember that massive project that's been looming over your head like a storm cloud? Yeah, that one. Instead of letting it intimidate you into a procrastination frenzy, let's break it down into bite-sized pieces. Think of it like eating a pizza. You wouldn't try to stuff the whole thing in your mouth at once, right? Unless you're Joey Chestnut, in which case, power to you. You'd savor each delicious slice one at a time. The same goes for tackling big projects. Start by dividing the project into smaller, more manageable tasks. Then prioritize those tasks based on importance and deadline. Once you have a clear roadmap, you can start chipping away at each task, one step at a time. The power of the Pomodoro. No, we're not talking about pasta sauce. The Pomodoro technique is a time management method that can help you power through tasks and minimize distractions. Here's how it works. Set a timer for 25 minutes and work on a single task without interruption. Once the timer goes off, take a short break of 5 minutes. Repeat this cycle 4 times, then take a longer break of 20 to 30 minutes. The Pomodoro technique works because it breaks down work into manageable intervals, interspersed with short breaks to prevent burnout. The timer also creates a sense of urgency, helping you stay focused and avoid distractions. Plus, there's something satisfying about checking off those completed Pomodoros. It's like a mini celebration for your productivity. Mindfulness and procrastination. Mindfulness might sound like something you do in a yoga class, but it can actually be a powerful tool for combating procrastination. When we're mindful, we're present at the moment, aware of our thoughts and feelings without judgment. This can be especially helpful when we're feeling overwhelmed or anxious about a task. Instead of getting caught up in negative thoughts or distractions, mindfulness allows us to observe those thoughts and feelings without letting them control us. There are many ways to practice mindfulness, such as meditation, deep breathing exercises, or even just taking a few moments to focus on your senses. By incorporating mindfulness into our daily lives, we can learn to manage our stress and anxiety, which can reduce our tendency to procrastinate. Self-compassion, your secret weapon against procrastination. We're often our own harshest critics. When we procrastinate, we tend to beat ourselves up, which only makes us feel worse and more likely to procrastinate in the future. That's where self-compassion comes in. Instead of berating yourself for procrastinating, try treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend. Acknowledge that everyone procrastinates sometimes, and it doesn't make you a failure. Forgive yourself for past procrastination and focus on making positive changes in the present. Remember, progress, not perfection, is the goal. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small. When you're battling procrastination, it's important to acknowledge and celebrate your victories, no matter how small they may seem. Did you finally finish that presentation that's been hanging over your head for weeks? Treat yourself to a celebratory latte. Did you resist the urge to check your phone every 5 minutes and actually focus on your work for a solid hour? That's a huge win. Give yourself a pat on the back. Celebrating your accomplishments, big or small, reinforces positive habits and motivates you to keep going. So go ahead and indulge in that victory dance. You deserve it. Conclusion. Embrace the journey to productivity. So there you have it, folks. Procrastination is a common struggle, but it's not an unbeatable foe. By understanding the psychology behind procrastination and implementing practical strategies, you can break free from the procrastination cycle and achieve your goals. Remember, it's a journey, not a race. There will be days when you slip up and procrastinate, and that's okay. The key is to learn from your setbacks, practice self-compassion, and keep moving forward. So go forth and conquer those to-do lists one task at a time. You've got this. If you like this type of information, please remember to like, subscribe, and share so the YouTube algorithm will put this video in front of audiences that really need to hear it. Thank you. And remember to make yourself a priority.